going on, everybody? As you guys are coming in and joining, please do me a favor, make sure you've got your microphone on mute. It should already be on mute. I think I had that setting set that way. But if you guys could, please make sure that you are on mute. We are doing more webinar style training today. There will be times where we get into some Q&A, but for the most part, I'm going to have you guys stay muted. Okay, good seeing some friendly faces that I recognize and know. It's also nice to see some names on here that I don't know as of yet. But real quick, I got a question for you guys. Go to the chat box and just put a 1 in the chat if this fits you. And I love how Jake jumps there and puts a 1. He doesn't even know what the heck I'm about to ask. If this fits you, are you guys? How many of you guys throw 1 if you would absolutely love for marketing to be super simple, automated, seamless, and not take so much confusing time and you trying to remember to do something? I think the majority of us, I see a lot more 1s coming in. Jake, I hope you re-put a 1 in since you, and he wrote the word 1 this time to be a little bit of a silly guy. So, all right. Go to the chat box and throw a 2 if, don't throw it just yet, if there was a way that you guys could cut out on the number of platforms that you are trying to use to ultimately do your marketing, streamline that down to like 1 or 2 highly functioning platforms to do all the work for you. Put a 2 in there if you'd absolutely love that. I see a lot of 2s coming in there. I think that's probably the biggest pain point. I know Roger and I have been going through a big process in our own internal company, looking at the amount of softwares that we have and how many different subscriptions are we paying for, all the things that we're doing that could be streamlined, because at the end of the day, well, that platform does the same thing as that one, or heck, if we did this, we could do it even better. And that's really my big hope for you guys today. My big mission today is to show you just how powerful what Roger and myself, the REI Toolbox team, has created, and then our partnership with Dave, who I'm going to introduce here in a second and let him kind of tell his story on what he's built over on the dope side of the house. And when you bring these two companies together, it's almost, that's why I call it the real estate deal machine, because it does nothing but create deals at the end of the day. And as real estate folks, that's what we are looking for. So as we go through today, we're going to be kind of breaking down a number of different things, but really my mission, my hope, my focus for you guys is to show you how quick and easy you guys can start to do 2, 3, 4, 5 more deals a month with less time, less energy, and a lot more free time, because you're not stuck sitting around doing all the marketing. As we do on most of our trainings, we will have a Q&A session. If you have a question as we're going through it, please do throw it in the chat box. Myself, Roger, we will be paying attention to that. We'll try to get that answered, or if not, we'll make sure that it gets answered during the Q&A piece, okay? And then at the very end, if you guys stick all the way to the very end, there's something incredibly beneficial for all of you guys. We've got a wild and crazy deal. Roger and I have kind of really put a lot of work into this. Dave's been a big part of that as well. And you guys are gonna have something pretty cool that I don't think I've ever seen in the real estate space. And that's what I'm most excited about, is you will be, who cares about competition? You guys are going to have something at your fingertips that your competition doesn't even know exists, because they're not on this webinar right now. So with that being said, Dave, if you want to say hi real quick and just kind of introduce yourself to everybody, give them a quick backstory on yourself, and then I'll roll into getting us going here.
Hey guys, what's up? My name is Dave Carroll. I'm the founder of Dope Marketing. We created Dope because we saw that direct mail is really hard. I know Shawn likes to have people put numbers in the chat. I'll piggyback. Put a 3 in the chat if you had sent direct mail before for your business. For all of you that are entering a 3 as we're talking, you might know that it's kind of hard. Outside of getting a paper cut and arguing with one of the amazing postal workers that you're putting your stuff in, right, or submitting your paperwork or doing your thing, direct mail is really difficult. And so my background, I have experience in home service. I've owned a home service, like a power washing, cleaning business for 14 years. I've owned a data company for 10 years, and we started Dope about 3 years ago because we saw that through the home service stuff that we were doing ourselves, through our marketing agencies, partners in the data company, all the way up to creating Dope. It's like direct mail is really hard. Getting a design done. Who's a great designer on the call? I know I'm not. Getting a list, whether you're getting a list from a broker, a title company, an agency, or something, getting the list, curating it, cleaning it up, coming with a campaign, setting up the strategy, the tracking, the QR codes, the call tracking number, getting all that together, going to the post office, getting it out, and then actually tracking and seeing the results. Like that takes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks at sometimes. At Dope, what we found is the data in your business is going to tell a story. You know what you're doing right. A lot of people didn't start doing what they're doing for a living yesterday. So Dope stands for data on previous engagement. Instead of looking at the digital side, there's a lot of experts that do a lot of really great stuff online. We found that the traditional marketing side, not only is it hard, but it's heavy. These things shouldn't take 2 to 6 weeks to send a campaign out. So we built a platform where you can go on and send direct mail with absolutely no minimum order. We've teamed up with Shawn and with Rogers as they've put together Deal Machine, and we put these services together. And that's what I'm going to show you guys today. We have some really cool features, functionalities from the design, the setup, the automation, the tracking. One of the things I always like to say is, like, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, it's our job to keep up on best practices. And what we do at Dope is we keep up with, and we even enhance best practices when it comes to direct mail for your business. There's just a little bit of a different way to do it. So I always say, like, I was born in 1985. Sadly, a lot of the direct mail strategies that are still going on to this day are from the year I was born. We're going to change that going through this call today.
Awesome. Roger, is there anything you want to say before we get rolling here?
Not really, man. I'm just excited to be here. Dave, thanks for doing this. I know we've been kind of working through this whole program, trying to get this all set up. So I'm super stoked to hear what you got to say, and I know what you're going to present. So I'm stoked to see that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. So before we dive too deep into the Dope side of the house, the direct mail components of it, today's really going to be about showing you guys how do we take everything that I talk about on a consistent basis. Those of you guys that are currently working with REI Toolbox and on our weekly calls, you hear me preach like crazy: multimedia, multi-touch, right? Marketing is not about sending one piece of mail or one message to somebody one time and hoping to God that that is enough to make some type of business happen. We know that on average, it takes somewhere between about 7 and 13 touches before you really even start to get somebody's attention, create a conversation, and eventually move something along. We also know that there isn't any one singular type of marketing that works consistently for all people. Some people like physical things in their hands. Other people like messages on their phones. Other people like to watch video. Other people like to read, right? Just take the marketing of this webinar. Some of you guys are here because of one of multiple different things that I did to put the message out about this particular webinar. It might have been a text that caught your attention. It might have been the voicemail that you received from me. It might have been an email. It might have been the Facebook post. It might have been the Facebook event. It might have been something else that we did, right? It might have been being on another training and hearing about it. Marketing is all about multiple touches consistently over a periodic amount of time, being very consistent with branding, messaging, and delivery. And when we can nail that, right, we increase the likelihood that we're going to take somebody from not knowing who we are, becoming aware of us, to ultimately becoming a potential customer, and then eventually becoming that customer with us. So Dave's going to show you guys one piece of it, right? How do we automate? How do we streamline? How do we make direct mail super simple in our business? And then the other side of the real estate deal machine is going to be all about how do we make all the other stuff super simple as well, so that we can build this one time and almost, why we call it the machine, fill it. Just constantly keep putting things into it. Things in this case is people, prospects, and let the machine do the work. Getting in front of them via text message, voice drops, emails, cold calling, direct mail, right? And having a hub, our website, the core of our marketing, be the heavy lifter and help get everything driving to it so that when people are interested, and I'm really excited to hear Dave share something on this front, but when people show some level of interest, we can then jump on it because we know that that's worth our time now getting involved in it. It's worth us stepping out and not relying on automation anymore and getting more into the sales role. So with that being said, Dave, I'm going to kick it over to you, let you kind of showcase some of the big spots with Dope, and then I'm going to bring it back to Lead Vault and how does that tie in and ultimately how this whole machine comes together.
Totally. So what I'll start off with before I share my screen is to piggyback a little bit of somewhat Shawn just said. So is anyone else on the call a Harvard grad? Anyone else go to Harvard on the call? Probably none of us, right? I didn't go to Harvard either. But our friends at Harvard, they do these business studies. And 2 years ago, Harvard did a business study, and it said that it takes 7 to 11 touches for a cold consumer to remember a brand, to remember a message. We're so inundated with marketing and messages and touches and all these things. And so the average business owner is getting 2 to 5 touches on their client. One of the problems that we've teamed up with Shawn and his team to solve is getting those other touches and having it set up so it happens automatically. You know, a different touch is a Facebook ad versus a billboard versus a business card versus they see maybe you have your vehicles wrapped or something like that, or see one of your yard signs or get whatever it is. There are some leads or some type of touches that have a higher value, and we put direct mail very, very high on that chart. So there was a case study done. It actually goes back to 1985. Keller Williams did this, but this guy on TikTok has made this case study recent again. And I always like to highlight it before I go and show our platform. So there's this neighborhood, and this neighborhood has 200 homeowners in it. And Dave and Shawn, they go walk around and they want to figure out, like, who's the number one agent? Who's the number one real estate agent in this neighborhood? We're trying to sell a home. We're trying to buy a home, whatever the case. So we go knock on doors. First door we knock on, we get Roger. We're like, Roger, who's the number one agent? You're like, oh, dude, easy. It's my niece. It's my niece, Cindy. She sells houses in the area. She's great. Awesome. We go to the next. We knock. It's Dominique's door. We go, Dominique, who's the number one agent? You go, dude, simple. It was Jim. Jim sold me my house. He's the greatest. He sells houses in this area. It was amazing. Next door we knock on, we get Tony. Like, Tony, who's the number one agent? You're like, oh, easy. It's Chris Lindahl. It's that guy with his arms open on the billboards and the radio and the TV commercials. No consistent answers whatsoever on who the number one agent is. So Shawn and Dave, being the half intelligent guys they are, they sit back, they scratch their heads and say, how do we figure this out? We're going to make up a fake company. We're going to run a test. We're going to make up a totally fake company, fake name, fake logo, fake office, screenshot, all of it. None of it real, never a real estate transaction done in the world. Shawn and Dave made up 8 postcards, and they sent 1 postcard a week for 8 weeks in a row to those 200 people. They went back around, they knocked on the doors. I'm sure we got a couple of thinkers on the call. What did 60% of the homeowners in that neighborhood say the number one real estate company was in that neighborhood after that was done? It was the company that didn't exist. Perception outweighs reality, but a first impression lasts forever. And if you're the first to get the impression, I always go to, like, your customers have anywhere from 4 to 7 problems that you probably solve very well. But then they live the rest of their life and they have the rest of their day on those 93 other issues. So it's not that everyone is looking to do a deal, do a transaction, flip out, whatever it is right now, but that branding awareness, that multi-touch marketing, when you are getting in front of a customer in multiple different ways. When you go to Home Depot, you see the billboard, you see the bus stop, you see the mailer, you see the Facebook ad, you see the thing, you're like, Home Depot, I trust you. With these strategies that we're going to go over in some of the dials, I'll show you guys how to turn with the direct mail stuff. You can take one neighborhood, one prospecting list where you are driving for dollars, any way that you acquire the referrals you get from your local partners or whatever. You can take a list of people and make them know who you are more. Who do people buy from? They buy from who they know, who they like, and who they trust. How do you get people to trust you? You put a consistent marketing message in front of them with a multi-channel approach. They're seeing the same messaging on Facebook, your website, the billboard, the postcards. Everything you put out is consistent. And so with the direct mail side, as I alluded to, that was very difficult before. At Dope, we decided to make that pretty easy for you guys. And so what I'll do, there's a couple core functionalities that are really, really important in our software that we built. And what you guys can know is that no matter what, a lot of print mail companies, there's a lot of like brokers in mail. If you would have told me 3 years ago we would own a print shop, I would have told you you were crazy. That was not the plan. We're a software company, but we bought the print shop. So everything that we do out of the system is batched here in Minnesota 6 days a week. So the tracking, the reporting per piece, all that stuff, you can rest assured knowing we're not just doing this and sending it off to some random company and hoping that it gets there. We do manufacture everything internally here in the Twin Cities. What I'm going to do, and Shawn, you can kind of direct me. I'm a bit of a talker. So if I get going on one thing, just kind of pull my chain. There's a couple core functionalities that I want you guys to see. So we're going to show you how to upload a list into the platform, because what's really cool at Dope, you can come in with your own data. You can upload a list. You can set up a mailing. We're going to show you some really cool tools that we built in our neighborhood blitz functionality, where you can do some stuff some of you guys might be familiar with. Some of it might be the first time. For anyone that sent EDDM, Shawn had a case study from someone who had just sent a mailing and closed a deal using the platform, using an EDDM route. So we'll show you guys that. And then handwritten notes. Shawn, do we want to go into that?
Yeah, we can show it real quick.
Little quick snapshot. So what I want to do first is, for anyone that's used like a MailChimp, Constant Contact, email platform, whatever, you're not going to anymore because Deal Machine's way better than all of that stuff. But if you ever sent emails out on your own, you'll be very similar with an upload like this. So let's just say I'm Dave. I got a list. I want to upload it. I go here. I grab my list. Boom. What we do, and what's really cool, is we actually hygiene the list. We're going to clean it out with CAS, which is the address standardization. And then we're going to hit NCOA. If it's national change of address, you can set rules, or if you bounce out an address or not, and we can get a little bit more into the weeds with that. But the uploading of a list is very simple. You only use what you need: name, address, very simple mapping to get your list into the platform. So if you have a prospecting list, you got a hold of something you want to bang on, want to set up a campaign, we'll show you how to do that. The list uploading functionality is very, very simple inside of Dope. So once you have a list set up, you want to build a campaign. You want to set out some mail. Traditionally, if you want to set out a bunch of mail and send one postcard a week to a list every week, 4 weeks in a row, similar to the case study we talked about with our guys with the Fugazi real estate company, that would take time. It would take a lot of time. Watch this. So if you have a list inside of Dope, you're going to go in here. I uploaded my list. I'm going to pick my list. And let's just say I wanted to send a mailer every day for the next 4 weeks. Check how easy this out. Mailer 1, mailer 2, mailer 3, mailer 4. Hit confirm, hit send. Those postcards are going to go out that day, every single day of the week, to a targeted list. That is the core functionality. Where we expanded on that core functionality is our neighborhood blitz functionality. So someone bump into the chat, a deal they're working, their house, the house they grew up in, something that they're familiar with that we can copy and paste, or Shawn, you can just read it out to me quick. An address that someone will be familiar with. Someone give me something that we can look at here. Now that I'm collapsed, I don't know where I can see my chat, Shawn.
Yeah, I'm watching it. Go ahead. Somebody throw a, we got one right here. 8762 Hemlock Lane.
What city?
Port Richey, Florida.
Boom, the second one. So what we'll do, we're going to go here. Zoom out to the satellite. So what we can do right away, some of the most core functionality. Let's just say I wanted to send to the nearest single family head of household homeowner, and I wanted to hit the nearest 50 neighbors to that address. I can grab the nearest 50, the nearest 25, the nearest 100. Maybe I want the nearest 37 or whatever. I can make up a number and I can hit the nearest homes to that house. Pin this in your brain. This is a core functionality. When Shawn and I show you how easy it is to set up the automations and everything, you can trigger based on statuses in your business with automations, but pay attention to this because this is the core here. So we got 8762 Hemlock Lane, and we see very quickly that we can look and we can target a specific number of houses around that home. What do you say, Dave? I don't know the number. I don't know how many I want to hit. I got a neighborhood I want to hit. I want to hit a certain number of homes in this cul-de-sac, in this area that I was driving through, whatever the case. So we now go to Map Blitz on the top. We drop that pin. Now we can drag and do what we call a neighborhood blitz. You can drag a shape and draw within that circle. But Dave, a circle is not a perfect shape. Okay. So now we go to create a custom shape, and I could draw Shawn's name. I could zone in on a couple different areas. Let's say I got a little pocket somewhere in town I want to hit, somewhere I'm familiar with. You can drop a pin, you can draw a number, you can hit a shape with no minimum order. And the next step, it just takes you right to the campaign functionality. As Shawn alluded to, you're not going to send one postcard, cross your fingers, and hope you're going to get 20 deals coming in. You're educating people on who you are, what you do, what problems you solve, a recent person that you just acquired a deal, and here's how you help them. Whatever the scheduling is or the campaign, you're laying out a strategic mailer now, laser focused with absolutely no minimum order. So what we started to do is we found like clients have different targets. You might not just want to hit everyone in one shape. So we added what we called our filter blitz. Now you can bump out, we have 7 filters in here right now, but actually for anyone watching the re-recording of this, for you guys live, this is actually coming out it'll be 10 days from today. We have about 30 more filters coming, and some of them are very real estate heavy. So if anyone who's ever on the call has bought a list before, think of all that criteria that you would want. We have all that in the back end. We started out with the first 7 just to make it simple. So we have like year the home was built, year the home was sold, the value of the home, the square footage of the home, the average household income, the age of the homeowner, and the gender. Just 7 pretty basic search criterias. If anyone has ideas, suggestions, things you want to see, all the data you've ever seen, we have that on the back end. We just want to keep the system as simple as possible so we don't have 4 million filters that can get lost. And if anyone's been in like CoreLogic or messed around with a big file they got from a title company, that stuff can get kind of overwhelming pretty quick. But we're always growing the system, especially in the real estate niche. So if you have suggestions or ideas that you need that you want to add, we can always have a conversation about that. So when you draw or when you do a filter, the numbers inside of that shape will just get smaller. You can filter them down and now get even more laser focused. Maybe you got a flip you just finished and you want to target a certain neighborhood because you know there are buyers in that area. Maybe you want to upload a list and set up a campaign. It's very, very flexible in that regard with Neighborhood Blitz. Now, Shawn, I know you said you had someone that had just closed a deal from an EDDM campaign. I won't go crazy into EDDM. Is anyone on the call? Pop another number in. Do a number 1 if you've ever done EDDM. It's not super common that I hear about every door direct mail going on in the real estate space. But again, Shawn, I think it was just last week, right?
It wasn't like actually, Jordan just put the 1 in. Jordan, I don't know if you're on and can unmute and just share a little bit about the EDDM that you guys did through the dope, because they are dope users currently with us.
Yeah, we did essentially just like you said, a neighborhood blitz. We circled. Actually, you don't have to circle it. You just it's a postmaster's route. So he hits every mailbox on his route with the same postcard, and we just did 1 run of it and got a nice deal off of that. So it worked pretty well. I put the address there in the chat box too.
Awesome. So with EDDM, I'll just go over this real quick for anyone who's not familiar. So when you send direct mail to a list, you can get pretty targeted. You can do like age, gender, how some of those filters like I was just talking about, and not everyone gets a mailer. For what Jordan was talking about, you can type in a zip code with every door direct mail. This is a platform that the post office came out with. It was about 12 years ago. And the idea was the post office will always give you a bigger discount if you do their job for them. And so the reason you see Dave the mailman every day at your house or whoever your mail carrier is, a zip code in your area is broken down into what the post office considers carrier routes. So you see this C061, C020, C002. You can do what's called a saturation mailing with EDDM. So if you got a hot area where you know, maybe it's like the houses, it's an area going through like gentrification or something like that, where the houses were cheaper, the values are rising, but you want to hit everyone and say, hey, I'm in the area, I'm buying homes. Maybe Jordan, that was something similar to what you guys did, just kind of a blasted message like, yo, what up? I'm Jordan, I buy houses, I can help you out if you're looking to sell. The idea is with EDDM, it's a little bit cheaper than sending postcards because Dave, the mail carrier, just gets a stack of these things. Every single house, apartment building, shanty, whatever, all of it, every single property from $1 million down to 50 grand is getting a postcard on the route. EDDM is traditionally used, like it's really good for like dentist offices, companies doing like carpet cleaning or something like that, where they're not as worried about the targeting, I'll share a tip with you guys. What you can do, there's a site called Melissa Data. You can go to Melissa Data and they have a carrier route lookup. What you want to do if you want to educate yourself on EDDM, just keep up on best practices. There are very good use cases still in real estate. To Jordan's point, you got to deal off this. You can go on Melissa Data and you can reference a zip code and the carrier routes, and it'll tell you how many apartment building drops are in each carrier route. So maybe you got a hot area and it's only got 25 apartments or 100 apartments. You're like, yeah, I'm willing to kind of waste those 100 cards because I want to hit everyone else on this route. You might see another one where it's like, there's 500 drops, but 300 are apartments. You're like, nah, maybe I'll go in there and just do neighborhood blitz on that one. So you can kind of use that strategy to look at it. But clearly, to Jordan's point, you can send out EDDM and get a deal. What's really cool with Dope, traditionally EDDM, you have to order the postcards, get them sent to your house, and you can only send out as a consumer 5,000 in a day, which would probably limit people enough. But the problem is, you got to go fill out all this paperwork, do the facing slips, stand in line, argue with them, tell them that you did it right. For my power washing business, guys, I used to spend 3 days in the truck a month driving these things around the Twin Cities, dropping them off, standing in line. At Dope, we do it full service. We package them, we face them, we ship them, we slip them, just like we did for Jordan. And then we drop ship them to your local post office and they get distributed. It's crazy because they go out faster from us than if you did it yourself at your local post office, because there's some Bill Nye mail stuff about that, but it's kind of cool. So EDDM does have a use case, but when I think about the real strategic targeting, what we like to think about at Dope, guys, you're sending more mail to less people. It's no longer the days of sending out 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 cards, spraying them all over town and praying to baby Jesus, Buddha, the great pumpkin, whoever you say your thank you to, and hoping that you get a return. We want to see more mail go strategically out. You want to think about direct mail, guys. They're tiny little billboards in the mailbox. Think about that person who's the biggest Compass, Remax, whoever the agent is in your area they're spending $100,000 plus a month on the radio, the TV, the billboards. The idea of these cross-channel marketing strategies is you guys can create that same thought process, that same know, like, and trust in very segmented areas by just dumbing down and laser focusing your targeting and spending more touches on less people because it's the right customer who you want to deal with. Shawn, I can go over a couple more things, or I can get really excited and just jump right into hot leads.
I think hot leads.
Okay. So,
and actually real quick, before you go into that, guys, I want you guys to really, I know a couple of you guys were writing in the chat box, hey, the post office has EDDM and this kind of stuff. And I 100% agree. But the big thing that I want you guys to take away from this, it's all about making things easier, less time consuming, and consistent. Not to pick on Chris and Sal. We talk about them a lot, but I was on a call last week with them. And Chris was like, dude, we just need to get moving with this because yet again, I was supposed to send postcards in my 13 touch campaign and I hadn't gotten around to doing it. And again, I'm not picking on them, but we hear it consistently. So everything Dave's been showing up to this point, just look at how simple, streamlined, and consistent, right? And when we do that, then us as real estate folks, we get to focus on what we do best. Analyze deals, negotiate, write contracts, okay? Now we can get into some of the sexy stuff because this has been something Dave and I have been talking about for months. I've been begging him, hurry up and get this thing out because this right here is going to be a game changer in my opinion. So strap the seatbelt a little tighter here.
Who got a little bit more familiar? Remember when we all had to put masks on and shit and wear them everywhere? Who got a little bit more familiar with QR codes over the past 3 years? Probably everybody, a little more used to them. So my daughter is 10, my mom is 75. Both of them now know when they see a QR code, they should scan it. They know what to do with it. They know how to interact with it. So what we're trying to figure out is okay, we can put a QR code on a postcard, but what more can we do? How can we figure out something better than that to show some tracking, to show some attribution? So what we came out with is hot leads. I'll show how it's set up. It's pretty simple here in the interface, and then I'll stop my screen share so I can show this to you guys. So basically what you can do is you can set up a standard campaign, just like we saw, base core functionality. Designs are in the platform, schedule them out, done deal, you set a campaign. Hot lead mailers, what you'll see, you can pop in a URL of where you want the QR code to go, and then you send a phone number where you want the text messages to go. So what we do with hot leads is when you have a mailing list, we take that list and we create a QR code individually for each person. So when Dave sends a postcard to Shawn, and I'll show you guys even better than I can tell you, I got this card, I sent it to my house. This went through the postal stream. I'm going to scan this postcard, boom. It's going to take me to the website, dopemarketing.com. Well, what's going to happen? Dope hot lead just came in. Dave Carroll at 123 Main Street just scanned that postcard. You are getting a live notification every single time someone interacts with your direct mail. So think about all the use cases. You could use this for prospecting. You could use this for listings. You could use this for any single situation. It's one thing to know that your mail is getting scanned. That's great. But what if, think about it like an email marketing campaign, like a Facebook campaign for video views. We've taken that concept of sending out a message, gathering a list of people that are engaging with that, and putting them into another bucket. Just like if you send out 100 cold emails and you ask someone a question, are you interested in selling your house? Who do you want to talk to? You want to talk to the 4 people that said yes, or maybe, or what are you buying, or what are you talking about, or whatever. Facebook, you put a video on Facebook and you go in and make one of these fancy custom audiences. What's the custom audience that you want to make? You want to target people that watch 25%, 50%, whatever of your video. It's the same concept now with direct mail. You can send out a message and you're not just sending one, you're sending a drip of postcards, watching who's engaging. I don't know if I'm wholesaling houses or flipping deals. If I'm sending postcards out, you know whose door I'm going to knock on after someone scans a postcard, thinking about if they want to sell their home to me or not? It's Shawn's house, who just scanned the postcard. So phase 1 of hot leads allows you to get a notification to any cell phone, to have someone showing you that they're engaging. Phase 2 gets even more powerful. The second phase of hot leads, you're able to put in a pre-populated message. I'm interested in selling my home. The design of the mailer is like, hey, I buy homes. If you want to have a conversation, want to get your home evaluated, you want to talk and see what it's, whatever your messaging is, put that on the card and drive it to the QR code. When you send out the mailer, not only do they scan it, but a text message of that pre-populated message pops up in their cell phone. They hit send. You have now created an opt-in legal in every state in the US associating that cell phone with that mailing address. We actually patented this process. We are the only company doing this second part of it right now, where you scan, the consumer, the potential seller, whoever you're talking to, has their phone in their hand, opted in and sent a text. There's a lot of places for warm consumers in the world, but if you ask me as a business owner, who's the #1 person I would ever want to be talking to, it is a human that just sent a message, that's holding their phone, interested in something that I was telling them about, creating that conversation, but now associating a cell phone number that is opted in with that record that now opens any other communication channel possible for your business, all using direct mail. So hot leads, you guys are, look, we didn't even launch it live yet. Our webinar is not till next Friday. You guys heard about this before our customers, our direct customers with Dope, even heard about this. This tool can be so powerful, and there's so many different use cases. It's one of the biggest reasons I was excited to meet with you guys today, because I know you guys are going to come up with stuff that we haven't even thought of yet, of how to use this and how to apply it in your business.
So imagine, guys, right? Traditional QR code still functions the same way as this hot lead, right? They scan it, they go to the website, they land on the page that we want them to, they hit the video that we want them to, whatever the case is, right? Depending on the message, depending on what we're trying to do. But now you've got a notification that Tony or Dominique or Jordan just scanned that QR code, which means they're actively on that page. And I know Dave said, like, hey, which door am I going to go knock on? What phone am I going to pick up and call? Which person am I going to send that text to? which person am I going to dump into another workflow in my automation sequences in Lead Vault to continue to hit them with a completely different message, because now I know they've engaged, they've expressed interest, they've gone from cold to warm now at this point. So, and then I know phase 2 behind that's going to be even more powerful, with that piece. So anything else that you want to add on that, Dave?
I don't think so. I think what I really wanted to get across through the training, the demo, showing the platform, Shawn, like you alluded to, is just like the ease of this. What used to take weeks, you can get on our platform and do in minutes to have strategic campaigns going out. It's not like you send one postcard and your life is going to change tomorrow. But just like what Jordan did, if you there's always going to be low-hanging fruit. There's always going to be someone out there that wants what someone has in a business. But the consistency of direct mail, making sure that you are not only Facebook ads, door knocking, drive, whatever you guys are doing to generate leads, everything that you're learning, making sure that these customers have postcards in their hands. And what Shawn's allowing you guys to do, it's at no minimum order. So a lot of people, when we're asking, have you sent direct mail? No, it's too expensive. It's not. Dude, you can get on this platform and spend a couple $100 a month on mail and still be getting in front of the right customer with the right message, adding to that true cross-channel marketing campaign.
Awesome. With that, I'm going to switch gears for a second. I'm going to showcase a little bit of the Lead Vault aspect and some of the functionality we have there. And then I'm going to have Dave and I kind of go in and I'm going to depin him so that I can share. Here we go. And then I'm going to have Dave and I kind of go into this live demonstration and show you guys just how easy it is. Whether you guys are on Lead Vault or not, we can get you set up on Lead Vault, but my Lead Vault users presently, just how easy it is that once we activate your Dope account, how quickly we can tie the two platforms together. They speak very well to each other, meaning we could be running marketing campaigns inside of Lead Vault. We can push things over to Dope at certain times when we want it to. We can tie it to the two together. So that I go back to what I said at the beginning, we build it one time, becomes super simple and effortless to stay very consistent with it. So with that, let me share over here on my end. And for those of you guys that are not Lead Vault users, which a good portion of the people on here are not, I'm not going to go into a full tutorial. This is a templated account. Matter of fact, this is a brand new snapshot that I've been in the process of building. Roger's been involved quite heavily on this. Anybody that signs up with the deal machine in the offer that we're going to have for you guys at the end of this, you're going to get access to this new snapshot. My current Lead Vault users, I will be pushing this out into your account as well. But a couple things that I want to highlight on here. Lead Vault at the end of the day can replace just about every other platform that you guys are out there using that has nothing to do with scrubbing data. So if you're using a platform to pull lists, like PropStream is probably my favorite one to highly recommend, to go get lists, to run the comps, to get the public data off of in the real estate space, that you would still need. But from a deal tracking, a cold texting or calling mechanism, an automation builder to build marketing sequences, chat functions on your website, there's so many things that Lead Vault can ultimately replace in your business, which means you can get rid of a bunch of other softwares so you don't have to keep paying for them. I'm not going to go too deep into all of that stuff because we can always get on a call and just talk deeper on it. But I want to highlight where Dope and Lead Vault play very well together. And the first one is on the opportunities board. And you can see here, this is what I've built this as a new seller opportunity. So I want you to envision this. Seller goes to your website. Somehow they got there, right? They filled out a form and all of a sudden the system picks it up, pops a card in here under the new seller, waiting for you to kind of reach out. And let's say in time you've reached out to them, you've talked to them, and maybe we move them here or here. They're interested, but they're not quite ready, or they're interested in warm, but maybe they need, 30, 60, 90 days. We hear this all the time in the real estate space. Just by me taking a card, and if I were to create one really fast, I'll just put some fake stuff in here. And oops. But you guys can see what I'm talking about here. Anyway, I don't know what I just did there. But as that reloads, come on. Anyway, I don't know what just happened with my internet there for a second. But let's say that card was in there, and I'll just move into another account that I know I have some cards in. Let's say I take the card and I move it from one category to the next. And I'm not doing very well today with which account. Let's say I take the card and I drag it from here over to this column right here. We can build integrations with Dope to trigger that when a card when a seller goes from this status to this status, go ahead and fire something. And where that really comes into play is, remember when Dave was talking about the neighborhood blitz and sending to the closest whatever 25 or 50 or 100. Imagine you guys lock a property up, right? You're about to do a renovation in that home, in that area. And we move a card from here to it's actually offers accepted. We know we're going to close on this property. We can then send it to where it triggers a automation over with Zoom or with Dope to fire a postcard to the 25 closest homes to the address that we just gave it, right? To say, hey, neighbors, such and such brand, we just purchased this home, blah, 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 blah. We're going to be doing a renovation. Property's going to be coming soon. If you know anybody interested in buying these type of things. I know, Dave, you didn't show too much on the handwritten letters, but we can even tell it to fire a handwritten note, not just a postcard, right? It can fire the handwritten note saying these things, okay? The other big area that it plays really well is inside of our automations, nurture sequences, right? This is a really robust workflow that has been built, that everything from creating opportunities on your opportunity board, assigning to specific users, to sending internal notifications, adding tasks, hitting voice drops, right? Somebody fills out the form on your website, all kind of stuff starting to happen on automation. But if you notice, as we kind of scroll down, we built this in a webhook pushing over to Dope to send a postcard. So if I've been doing all of this stuff over like 2-3 days and I'm not getting this person that filled my form out to respond to me, maybe now it makes sense to put something in their mailbox to try to get their attention again, because they're not paying attention to email. They're not paying attention to text. But where do people go through their mail? I always talk about this. They do it in front of the trash can because they're throwing away the junk. And when this beautifully well-designed 6x9 postcard that's branded out, that looks just like everything that they've already seen about your company hits them, and it's like, wait a minute, this is the company that's been trying to reach out to me. And now we tie that back to hot leads with a QR code, and they scan it, and you now know that they engaged with the postcard, and now we can start to move them through, right? And as this workflow goes deeper, and this is all pre-built for you guys in there, we eventually say, hey, by like day 18, 20, they haven't engaged with us. Let me go ahead and dump them into Dope and dump them into a campaign that's four postcards over 4 more weeks to kind of nurture them a little bit longer and just keep something in their face. So we've built a ton of these different workflows on a number of different scenarios. But the part that I want Dave and I to kind of show you guys just how easy it is to do is how to set that webhook, how to tell the two platforms to ultimately talk together. And then the final thing before I have Dave come back on to show you guys on that front, how many of you guys have I'm going to stop sharing for a second. How many of you guys have ever felt like you keep saying the same message over and over again when somebody replies to one of your messages? Just go to the chat and write yes. If you feel like you keep, like they say, hey, what's your process? And you're constantly saying the same thing. Or they're always asking, like, how quick can you close? And you're always saying the same thing over and over again. You're always typing it, this type of thing. What we've done is gone ahead and built out a ton of templated, under our marketing side here, templates, a ton of emails, texts that are pre-built, templated out for you guys with mail mergers, internal messages that you can use, external messages going out to the sellers and to the individuals, so that really easy clicks of buttons, something super simple that you can train a VA on to reply with. Hey, if they say this, you're going to reply with this template or this template or this template on it. You can leverage these into your automations and your workflow functionality. And again, I don't want to go too deep into the demo on how this whole entire platform works with the nuances, because I want to keep it tied to what we're talking about today with the deal machine. But between these two platforms, we can start to automate and streamline a lot of our consistent marketing efforts so that things don't keep falling through the cracks. So with that, I am going to have Dave jump back in. And I want to, if we could somehow, Dave, you and I don't think we can both share simultaneously, but you, let me pin you back on. If we could show them just how easy it is to put the two platforms together, leveraging the webhook and making sure that it actually fires.
Absolutely. So do you want me to share my screen and show the mapping part, and then I can pass it to you to show the other side?
Perfect.
Cool. So right now we have a very easy way to set up automations to go between Dope and Deal Machine. So when Shawn was showing that sequence that was built out there that you could had all the automations going, but when it gets to a certain status, it starts sending a mail. It's this simple. You go to new automation, test. You have the option to send one card to one person at any time, or you can do that neighborhood sending. Remember when we went back to the 25 or the 50 or the 37 or whatever? You have the ability. We're just going to act as if we're just going to send one right now. Someone filled out my form. I texted, I emailed, they didn't get back to me. Said, I want to fire off a postcard or a series of postcards to kind of ask them questions and show them what we can do. This is how easy it is. Step one. Step two, we're going to select our postcard. Let's just assume this is one of the great designs that Shawn and his team's already got done, templated for you guys in Deal Machine. Now we go here. We're going to go to save and close. Now we're going to look at what triggers the deal. What you're able to do is select the CRM. So go here. We use HubSpot. That is connected. Boom. Click OAuth into HubSpot. Connect. So it's that simple to get into Deal Machine. Now what we do is you can literally just map out any single instance in your program. Shawn, what's crazy? They just did an update. This is the new one I was telling you about already. So we go here. You can have any process. So when someone changes a stage, it goes from prospect to warm lead to paperwork sent to something signed, to any of those stages or phases in your deal. You can go on so simply and grab and map out to automatically set this stuff to go out right away. Now, Shawn, what do you want me to pass you? Because I know we're going to pass it back and forth the screen here.
Yep, it'll be a webhook for us.
Okay, so we're going to go here.
So GHL is the platform.
Yeah.
That we need to change that to grab it, and then on our end.
So watch this. So at any time you can do a direct connection. You can go to Zapier, which will just spit out that webhook. So right here, we're going to grab that webhook. What I did is I set this postcard to go to that potential lead who filled out the form. We texted, we emailed, they didn't get it. I want them to get this postcard. All I have to do is go here, grab this link. I send it over to Shawn. Where's my nifty chat here? I'll send Shawn the webhook there in the chat. Shawn, I'll kind of let you take it from here because it gets pretty simple now.
It does. So then on the lead vault end, folks, all you would do is come in. If this is the webhook time frame that you want it, you come here. It's a post hook, right? Because we're pushing out. On Dave's end, it's a catch hook. And all we do is replace this with the, oops, didn't copy right, with the code that came from Dope. We hit save action. We hit save up here. If this campaign was published, when a contact reaches this stage and hits this, it's going to push all the information that you have in the system from Lead Vault over to Dope, and everything that Dave just programmed over there, that postcard would then get fired. And Dave, maybe you can tell them, like, is it by a certain time frame in the day that gets printed and out, or it happens tomorrow?
So the way that it works is we batch every 24 hours. So from what is it, 12:01 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. today, we collect all the mail today. That starts printing at 4 a.m. the next day. Trade, cut, delivered to the post office. We should be anywhere in the country in 4 to 7 days. Now, full transparency here, we produce every 6 days, weather event, holiday, post office, any of that stuff. But because we manufacture the mail here, we have tracking, we can backdate accounts, everything's under our mailer ID. And because of our great relationship we have with the post office, with sending a couple million postcards a week, we can always dig stuff up. Where's the tracking? Where's the stuff? This is why you add your other tracking, your QR codes, your call tracking, your URL links, all that stuff. But any single sequence you send, whether it's the cards or the handwritten notes in these instances, roughly 4 to 7 days anywhere in the country.
And then we do have some pretty good questions in there. I'm going to get to those in a second. But folks, let's say all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I also want, if they get to this stage right here, if by then I haven't seen, I want to hit them again. We can come in here, we hit webhook. And same thing, post, not a get. It's a post code. And I can hit that again, hit save. And it would push back to that same one, send that same card again at that stage. If I wanted that same exact thing to happen over and over again, or you just create multiples of these based on the stage, based on which postcards you want going out, or handwritten letter based on the stage that they're at, right? Same thing would be true if we had, remember I was talking about the opportunities, right? And a card moving from one stage to another. If I had an automation, which I think I have one in here, of a I don't, but let me say I wanted to create one that if somebody moved from whatever stage to whatever stage, right, that would be the trigger, opportunity moved, and then I can go here and do the same thing, webhook, throw it in there, boom, and that would also trigger that to happen.
One thing I want to add to, for anyone here who's not like Bill Nye, tech savvy, webhook, catch posts, any of that stuff, what you watched me build on my side to create that webhook, you pick a postcard, you pick if it's a one or if it's a neighborhood, that's just going to simply generate that webhook. You don't need to know what a webhook is, know how to spell webhook, know what a post is, any of that. Grabbing that link and just bopping it into your pre-made sequence. And Shawn, you guys help everyone set this up and we help everyone at Dope. So when you guys have Deal Machine connected with Dope, you'll have all the benefits of Deal Machine, but you also have an account rep with us. If someone's like, dude, I don't know how to do any of this, this can be set up for you. You are not required to build all of this out on your own. It's good. I would say, like, paint the room before you hire the painter. Best practices to know how to do this stuff. But I would also say, like, you could be spending your time working deals on the phone and having one of our teams setting up your automations and your webhooks, because you can turn them on, turn them off at any time. The idea is the consistency of something happening while you're sleeping. So as you're making triggers or actions in your business, the direct mail is going out based on those one-time setup functionalities that now are banging out to the right audience or the neighbors of that right audience.
So let me go ahead and hit some of the questions. One of them was pretty good. Here it is. Sal asked, what KPIs does Dope have to show success, or what can be expected? So some of the, initial KPIs, obviously the hot leads, that's more of a in the moment type of piece, but if you can allude on some of that.
Yeah. So one really cool thing is, like, one, we can always show that your mail was delivered, but I'll show you something else that we just came out with, because Sal, we get this question all the time. What we did is our Dope matchback reports. And what our matchback report allows us to do, you remember when I uploaded a list into the platform? So when we send mail for you at Dope, we know the name and the address of where we sent the mail. Every single month or at any time, you can come in and you can upload the jobs that you did, whether it's the leads that you generated at what address or the deals that you actually closed. You can upload all of your leads at any time and do what we call a matchback report. So it'll say Sal uploaded 2,433 leads that didn't turn into deals. we can show you what address got how many postcards. So you can kind of back out and see, like, if I'm sending out, is it working on postcard 2, postcard 3, postcard 4? So this example here, like Aaron Ambler at 121 Stonegate Circle, you can see this company had sent 3 different postcards on 3 different days. Now, where that gets even more powerful, Sal, this is the client's data. This isn't dope. This client, over 6 months of mailing with us, they generated in their entire business 2,433 leads. That company closed 837. That's their data. It's not our data. But what we could show is that out of those 2,433 leads, we sent mail to 391. Their company close rate, you divide 2,433 by 837, I think it's like 32, 37%, something like that close rate. But if you see out of the leads that got mail, they actually closed 52% of the deals of the leads they sent mail to. So just like all good things, my wife didn't marry me after going one date. I didn't lose 50 pounds running on the treadmill one time. The consistency in sending the mail, the data will always tell a story. So we have the call tracking, we have the QR codes, we can go to a list and we can see the details and see what mailer sent on what date to who. But the biggest thing you want to see is month over month over month, are my leads matching with houses that I'm sending mail to? And because I'm a business owner, and like all of us are a little bit guilty, we might not know all our numbers all the time. But let's say, if you generate 50 leads or 50 meaningful conversations, you're going to have 5 conversations, you're going to close 2 deals, or whatever your numbers are. What you should be able to see just by spending a pretty minimal amount of money a month, putting those tiny little billboards in the mailbox, that your close rate should be going up based on the people that you're sending mail to, because they're more aware of you. They know who you are. They saw Jordan and he's out there grilling and he's got a family and he's got his stuff and he's highlighting these things. Again, who do we buy from? Know, like, and trust. So there's KPIs and metrics around delivery, tracking, scans, and calls. But the biggest feature we came out with in regards to tracking or attribution is that matchback reporting tool, where you can run a report at any time, or your account rep can run a report for you.
Okay, thank you.
For sure.
And to take the KPIs a little bit deeper inside a lead vault, right? And this is an account that has some stuff. You have the capability, actually, let me show you on the dashboard here. You have the capability of integrating a lot of your outside components. You can see on this particular account, we've got their Facebook ad account attached. We've got their Google Ads account attached. Their GBPs attached. Their analytics is attached. So you've got a lot of other KPIs at your fingertips to see what is going on, as well as different attribution reports that you can see where are things coming in from, what is happening. And then again, inside of workflows, you have the ability to see, like this particular, that's an internal one. This one's paused, so it may not have any data, but we can look at, and I know Chris, Sal, I've done this with you guys. Matter of fact, let me just go to one of yours. You can see individual analytics based on whether it's the email, deliverability, open, that kind of stuff, who's actually opened it. Chris, what was the name of that one that you guys had that I looked at?
I think it was the probate multi-tactic.
This one here? Well, that's placement agent, it'll work.
Yeah.
So like you can see here, SMS, right? And I can look at statistics on this. I can see they had a 66% deliverability, 33% failure, right? Probably some bad phone numbers in there. But same thing on the email. We can see some of the statistics on this, delivery, open. And if I were to actually go deeper into it, I can see, hey, these are the ones that actually opened during this date range, which now we can take this even deeper and go, okay, if they're engaging, they're opening emails, but they're not necessarily responding, but I don't have automation built on the dope side. Maybe this is where I want to trigger automation on dope to go out if they open an email, right? If they actually took the time to open the email, but they didn't respond, now go ahead and send them a postcard because they've at least shown some type of engagement or something like that. So with that, I want to open up for questions because I do also want to respect everybody's time here today. So if you guys have a question, feel free to either unmute or throw it in the chat and I will kind of read it off. I see Jake had he didn't make a question. It was more of a statement. I think, Jake, you were talking about when I was, saying from one thing to the next thing, right? Or, triggering different things. Offer made, 3-card follow-up, right? So you make an offer and then all of a sudden hit them with like 3 postcards is what I'm assuming you're mentioning there. If you want to unmute Jake and kind of elaborate.
Yeah, so like the dope platform integration is like pretty.
You're breaking up a lot. That backwoods West Virginia.
Or like we're
unfortunately, you are breaking up. There's no hearing you on that. I think what he's talking about is you make an offer, right? You move
your website, then you could do like a 3-card.
Yeah, I got him muted now. He's still talking. But I think I know what he's talking about. And absolutely, right? You move a card from one column to, hey, offer made. And now I want to trigger some stuff in dope to continually send them, a couple postcards or some handwritten letters or something like that after I made the offer. If they didn't initially accept it, absolutely, right? And then we can trigger it to stop based on where they're at in the workflow, right? So we build the different hooks. And if we tell the workflow to stop if they actually do something, or if we remove them from it, that would ultimately stop them.
Thinking of if you can catch me right now.
Over on the dope side of things. So anybody else have any questions? If not, I want to get into
I have a question real quick.
Go ahead, Dominique.
If you have a large list, can you break that list up to kind of like schedule out, start with, say I want to send 100 at a time? Will it automatically just go through to the next 100, to the next 100, to the next 100?
What you have to do is, Dominique, you kind of chop it up, but I'll show you how easy that is. So you can go in, let me go to Jamie's account. She's got a good list in here. Basically, there's a list management functionality inside of Dope where you can go into a list. And then what'll happen, let's just say it's like this top 50 list right here for conversation's sake. I can go in here. I can filter this list by like city, zip code, different criteria in that list. And let's just say like here, I just wanted to click these 4 people. I can create a new list, name it, whatever, create it. Now I have a sub list within that list so I can set up my campaigns. We don't have anything where like you take a big list and it automatically grabs batches of 100. But what we do, like good, I guess as I think about this out loud, it's a good suggestion. Anytime like 6 out of 10 of our users are asking for a feature, we always bump it up in priority. So like we wrote the whole dope software. We have an in-house dev team. So like if there are feedbacks and suggestions about things that would make it like more usable or more friendly, I think like if I was in your spot and I had a larger list, let's say it's 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 or something like that, I would be looking at how can I kind of chop that up and then test different series of cards to each list. I don't know what the criteria is, if they're like higher end homes, lower end homes, high FICO, distressed properties, whatever it is. But you can very easily upload a big list and at least segment it to kind of go down the path you're talking about.
We can actually on the lead vault side make that happen right this minute.
Look at that.
So Dominique, because I know you're a lead vault user, let's say this was your account, right? Now I want to take this list of 4,300 plus names, but I don't want to send postcards to all 4,300 of them right now. I want to do it in batches of whatever, 100. We take that, we build a workflow that is going to push over to the dope side for the postcard that you want, but we send it in drip mode and we say, hey, start it on this date at this time. And I want you to send batch quantities of 100, and I want you to repeat this after whatever, 30 days. So today, when I fire this, 100 of them are going to get dumped into that workflow, which would talk to dope, fire that off. 30 days later, the next 100 would do the same thing over and over again. That's why I keep saying these two platforms together you've got more power at your fingertips than you know what to do with. And then I did see another question that came in the chat that asked about, it's more on the lead vault side. Does it delete bad emails and phone numbers? Yes, there is a system, a setting in the back end where we can actually turn it on, where it will verify that it's an accurate email address or a deliverable email address. Same thing with a phone number before it sends out. And if it doesn't meet the criteria, it won't send. It's also built to where if it's a good email address, but it sends, and for whatever reason, it hard bounces or soft bounces so many times, it completely quits trying to send to it because it keeps bouncing back. And then from a compliance standpoint, all the text messages that go out automatically have the message in it that say, reply stop to unsubscribe to keep you 100% compliant on that front. And the entire system's been built around the, whatever it is, the 10 DC, whatever, I always forget that code, the compliancy side behind that. So does anybody else have any other questions real quick while you still got us before I talk about this? And then part of this, you guys are going to have to go and schedule a call because obviously there's a lot of like nuance, little things to your business that we're going to jump on a call and talk more specific about if you guys are interested in getting this up and going. But does anybody have any questions per se? Kurt, I know you and I talked like a week or two ago, and I told you to wait for the webinar. Just want to make sure, give me a thumbs up if you're good, or if you got any questions. Okay, I see that thumbs up. Cool. All right, so then with that being said, let me kind of break down real quick. Dave, is there anything that you want to add before I shift? Okay. So a couple things that that Roger, myself, Dave, we were looking at. Obviously, and Dave, correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, I think you guys got rid of this. They in the past they could have gone to Dope directly, but through a partnership, it was a much better deal. But I think now you guys, pretty much, hey, real estate people work with Shawn and the team, got way better setup, right?
Yep, exactly.
So what Roger and I and Dave have been talking about over the last few months as we've been getting this up and going, and some of you guys are already actively using all of these different tools that are on the call. Most of you guys are not, though. But really, when it comes down to it, when you have what we call the deal machine, is when you've got REI Toolbox on the website side of the house, you've got Dope running the back end automation aspect for your handwritten letters and your postcards. And I should actually have you, Dave, show at some point here the handwritten side, just to show. I mean, there's so many different fonts, and you can upload your own customization and all that kind of stuff. And you've got Lead Vault running. You really have an entire machine to handle all of your marketing for you outside of doing paid traffic, Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, that kind of stuff. Every other aspect of your marketing can be handled off of these other components. So what Roger and I came up with was part of the deal machine is this. You're going to get a completely optimized website. You're going to get access to your Dope 360 account, but not just access to the account. You're getting all the features and the postcard pricing, which I know Dave didn't talk too much about, of 69 cents a postcard to be printed, cut, delivered to the post office, and the postage 100% automated for you. All the features of the Dope 360 account as if you were in one of his top tier packages. You're going to get the Lead Vault CRM professional account, which has all the workflows, everything's completely unlocked for you at that level. Dave talked about this earlier, one-on-one technical setup and support. You actually don't have to do the setup. Chris, Sal, we just got your account activated earlier today. We're going to be working over the next couple of days to get them fired up and integrated. Dave, I was talking with your team over there. We've got them finally set up. We're going to be tying their stuff together. You're going to get 2 blog posts a month hitting your website. This is on Roger's side of the house to make sure that you've got current, relevant information, helpful content going out. A lot of the postcards, a lot of the information, right? We get them to the website. We want to make sure that they have something to look at. And you're going to have one-on-one marketing strategy calls every single month with myself, Roger, with our team. We can pull in Dave's team, our account rep over there. If we want to look at, unique use cases, or how do we make this happen because you got this, specific scenario going on. All of this is included in the real estate deal machine. And when I sat down and looked at it, Roger and I were like, really, at the end of the day, we need to be selling this at about $997 a month to make it make sense. But you guys know, I like when we roll new things out, I like to take a, give you guys kind of the special deal, the homie hookup, what I call the fast action price, because I love people that just take action and make things happen and don't dwell. So fast action price, $597 a month. But to get it at that, we have to put a time frame on that, meaning you've got to take action by a certain time. And then after that, it's going away. So midnight tonight is the cutoff. If you want to take advantage of this, midnight tonight is when that goes away. And here's the process for it. What you need to do is, and I kind of jumped ahead there. What you need to do is go to a website. I'm going to give you the URL here in a minute. But Roger decided, and I'll let him share on this. Roger decided to throw a special little bonus. I tried to talk him out of it. He twisted my arm. He's a state champion in wrestling. I don't like to wrestle the guy, even though I'm 3 times his size. He twisted my arm and said, dude, I've been working on this in the background. I think we should throw this as a bonus for those that take action on this fast action thing. Roger's been putting together a 365 plus day social media and Google business profile posting, not just calendar, but he's literally put together every post that you should be putting out, broken down into all the different subcategories of real estate: tired landlords, bankruptcy, probate, foreclosure, pre-foreclosure. So Roger, if you want to real quick, just kind of give them your vision on what that bonus is going to include, because this is a work in progress. It's ready to go for the most part. But why don't you explain a little bit about this bonus real fast?
Yeah, absolutely. So this particular bonus, I was actually working on this. This was an internal project that me and the team were working on for our current higher level clients. But there's just a massive library of these posts. And one of the things that I always kind of talk about for your digital footprint is just, like Dave was talking about, stay consistent, right? Well, on the digital side, you got to stay consistent as well. You got to have information out there, value. So what we put together is just we're building categories, folders of just categories and posts. And what we're doing, we are using some AI tools to put some of the stuff together, but we're also going in and doing something that AI essentially can't do right out of the gate. So what we're doing with that is setting up a system where you can take these posts, and me and the team are going through, make sure that all the grammar is good. It's actually targeting certain keywords. And then you can, what I'm calling localizing and branding each post. So not only do you target a keyword, but you also target a location, and you target basically the name of your business on each post. And what I'm doing with that is creating a training for you guys where you'll be able to pop it in, do that in just a couple clicks using your Google Drive and your Google Sheets, and being able to do that. And then in the near future, we'll also be adding a feature for images. So images right now is not 100% functional. And that's why me and Shawn were like, you know what, we can throw in this particular package since we're going to be giving a deal at this level, because at this level is already, we have about 480 posts ready to go that you guys will have access to next week. And in the near future, you're going to have even more stuff added to that package. So it's a huge value for those of you that are struggling coming up with ideas of what to post. The entire calendar is going to be done for you. For those of you guys that are already working with us at a higher level, some of these things might be even more targeted for you, that you want to post even more consistent. Again, everybody has a different scenario, but for this particular deal machine offer that we're doing, you are getting the 480 posts that we have and the training that's going to go with it.
Awesome. And I'm not kidding, folks. When Roger kind of pulled the cat out of the bag for me on a company meeting, and I saw this, I was like, holy crap. That is, I had no idea that they were working on that in the background. So to take advantage of this, to lock it in at the $597 a month, there is a one-time setup fee. Our normal setup fee is about $2,000, but we've knocked that down to $897 if you are not presently working with REI Toolbox already. Predominantly, that's because of the website side of things. If you're already an REI Toolbox client, if you're already on the Lead Vault side of things, when we get on our call, we'll talk about it. We'll probably be able to discount that down even more. There is a little bit of a setup process and some costs that go in on the dope side of things to get things up and running, and postcards designed, pre-built, all that kind of stuff for you, especially as we start rolling out the hot lead ones and that kind of stuff. So we'll talk some of the nuances for those of you guys that are already REI Toolbox clients. But to lock this in at that price, you're not signing up necessarily right now today. What you need to do is go to redealmachine.com. Again, that's redealmachine.com. Watch the video that I put on there. I explain a little bit more. And then you're gonna fill out a form. You're gonna go to another page. And that form is kind of getting all the basic information, everything that we would need to quickly spin up your Lead Vault account if you're not on Lead Vault already. Your dope account if you don't already have a dope account, everything that we need to get it going. And then you're going to get taken to a calendar where you're going to book a time with myself. And as long as you get all of that done by midnight tonight, you'll be locked in at this price. And we'll get on that call. We'll talk about some nuances. We'll get your stuff up and running. Dope, the dope side of things, typically, 24, 48 hours, somewhere in that range. Maybe a little bit more to get the account spun up, get your access to it. Lead Vault side, we'll get it up. Once we have everything up and running, we can start getting on other calls, start getting the integration, components together, all the technical setup. And then, like I said, Dave's team actually already has, I forget what it is, Dave. I think it's like 10, 12, 14 different postcards already pre-designed that all we got to do is submit logos and some other stuff. And boom, we can change out branding and color. But then if we want some specific ones, Roger and I are going to get our team in there. They'll start designing new ones to upload to the platform for you as well. So a lot of the stuff's kind of done for you, hands-on, kind of hold it. So Dave, I saw you unmute if you want to add something here.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, folks, if there is any other questions, please feel free. Somebody did throw in duplicates scrubbed. Dave, on your side, on the dope side, I believe that's true, right? If there's duplicates in there.
So we remove duplicates from the list. We do like I said, the cast and the NCOA hygiene. We have some fail safes, so you're not sending like 6 cards on one day to one address. Our account reps can kind of go over that with any of the list management stuff. We also have training. So some of this, I got to show you guys about half of the program. There's also videos inside of Dope to go through all the functionalities, all the stuff. Because you guys, with your deal machine, you'll have a Dope account that you can still log into and do anything. And with this deal that Shawn and Roger worked out for you guys, you're getting our $1,000 package included in this price. This is our Lambo package that goes in with deal machine.
Awesome. All right. With that being said, does anybody have any last second questions? If not, make sure you head over to redealmachine.com before midnight tonight if you want to lock in that price. Even if you're still interested, you're not 100% set, you need to do it by midnight tonight to lock that in, because then after that, that button goes away on that page. And we're still going to have this offer, but I can promise you it's not going to be a $597 going forward. This was a one-time, those that show up to the webinar, those that pay attention, those that watch the recording in time, those that take action to jump on this, because as Dave even alluded to earlier, you guys got some insight on some features that not a lot of other people even know about yet. So with that, Roger, one last chance. Anything you want to add?
No, we're good, man. Good from my end.
Okay. Thanks for showing up, everybody. And we will see you guys. Those are my Investor Harvest members. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And everybody else, we'll see you back on Wednesday next week for your normal trainings. We'll see you guys later.